You're probably ruining your ground beef and you don't even know you're doing it. You brown a pan of it and it ends up the same way every time, gray instead of seared, sitting in a puddle of its own liquid, tasting like not much at all. So you drown it in sauce just to give it something. Most people think that's just what ground beef is: cheap, bland, a little dry. It isn't. That gray, watery result is a mistake, and the Japanese way of handling ground beef fixes it completely, starting with something most people get wrong in the very first minute. In Japanese cooking, ground beef is treated with real respect, folded into dishes like soboro, where it's savory, glossy, and deeply flavorful, or shaped into hambagu, the Japanese Hamburg steak so juicy and tender it's practically a national comfort food. That tenderness is no accident either. The mix is bound with a little milk-soaked breadcrumb that holds moisture inside the patty as it cooks. The same anti-dryness thinking that runs through everything here. Dry, bland ground beef is rare there, and the reason comes down to a few things most people get exactly backwards, starting before the beef even hits the heat. Here's the part that surprises people. The biggest reason ground beef turns out gray and watery usually has less to do with the beef than with what happens in the pan, and the real Japanese difference isn't one clever step, it's a whole way of treating the meat once it's browned. I'll show you what I mean in a moment. The whole thing comes down to why ground beef goes gray and dry, the crowding mistake almost everyone makes, the way flavor actually gets built, and the fat you're probably pouring down the drain. Together, they're the difference between gray, watery beef and beef that's deeply browned and savory enough to eat on its own. Start with why it goes gray and watery in the first place, because it explains every fix. When ground beef hits a pan that isn't hot enough, or when there's too much of it crowded in at once, the temperature crashes and the meat starts releasing its water. Instead of searing, it sits in that liquid and steams, turning gray and boiled rather than browned. And browning is everything here, because that deep seared crust is where almost all the flavor comes from, a reaction between heat and protein that simply can't happen while the meat is stewing in water. Gray ground beef is meat that never got the chance to develop flavor. It boiled instead of searing, and those browned bits that stick to the bottom of the pan aren't a mess to scrub away. They're pure flavor, and they lift right off and back into the dish the moment you add your sauce. You've seen the sign of it 100 times without knowing what it meant. That pool of liquid in the pan is the beef telling you the heat is too low or the pan's too crowded. A properly seared batch stays relatively dry in the pan, sizzling instead of simmering because the water is evaporating on contact instead of pooling. Once you learn to watch for that puddle, you can fix it in real time. One small thing helps before the beef even touches the heat. If the surface looks wet, blot it dry with a paper towel first. A film of surface water has to boil off before any browning can begin, so a drier surface gives you a real head start on the sear. So the fix starts the moment the beef hits the pan with the step nearly everyone gets wrong. Get the pan properly hot and then leave the beef alone. Most people drop the meat in and immediately start breaking it up and stirring it constantly, which is exactly what prevents a sear. Instead, you press it into the hot pan in a single flat layer and let it sit undisturbed for a solid minute or two, so one whole side develops a deep dark crust before you break it up at all. That first patient minute, letting it sear before you stir, is what separates gray beef from rich, deeply colored meat. But this is the part I want to be honest with you about, because it's the real point of the video. The Japanese difference isn't how they sear the meat. Good browning is just good cooking, and plenty of people do it. The Japanese difference is what they do with the beef afterward. Instead of stopping at browned meat and reaching for a jar of sauce, they cook the flavor directly into it, so the beef itself becomes the whole dish. That second half is what almost nobody does, and it's where we're going next. The searing has a second half people miss. You have to give the beef room. Pile too much into one pan, and even a hot pan will crash and steam, so you brown in batches when you're cooking a big amount, keeping each batch in a thin layer with space to sear. Crowd the pan and you steam, give it room and you brown. It's the same lesson as the first, from the other direction, and together they're most of the whole game. The pan itself helps or hurts here more than people realize. A wide, heavy skillet, stainless steel or cast iron, holds its heat when the cold beef lands and keeps searing instead of stalling. A thin, light, non-stick pan gives up its heat the instant the meat lands and steams the beef no matter how careful you are. If your ground beef always goes gray, the pan may be the hidden culprit. Now the flavor, because this is where the Japanese approach gets interesting. Rather than browning the beef plain and rescuing it later with sauce poured over the top, the flavor gets built right into the meat as it cooks. In a dish like soboro, the crumbled browned beef is simmered with soy sauce, mirin, sake, and a little ginger until the liquid cooks down and the meat drinks it right in, turning glossy and savory all the way through. It's often served in a neat layer over rice, sometimes alongside a matching layer of seasoned scrambled egg, cheap, fast, and genuinely satisfying. The seasoning isn't a coating on bland meat, it becomes part of the meat, and the balance is deliberate. The salty soy is met with the gentle sweetness of mirin and often a pinch of sugar, so the finished beef lands savory and just faintly sweet. The flavor profile that makes soboro so more-ish over a bowl of plain rice. You simmer it until the liquid is almost entirely cooked away and only a glossy coating remains clinging to the meat, which is the sign it's done. That's why Japanese ground beef dishes taste deep and complete rather than like plain beef with something poured over the top. And ginger is the quiet hero worth calling out. A little grated fresh ginger cooked in with the beef cuts through any heavy, greasy note and brightens the whole dish. One of the reasons Japanese ground beef never tastes flat or one note. Garlic, green onion, a touch of sesame, all do similar work, building layers into the meat instead of sitting on top of it. This is the same browned, seasoned beef that goes into a stuffed pepper, a bowl of rice, a filling for dumplings, or a quick weeknight stir-fry, so getting it right once pays off across a dozen different dinners. Then comes the fat, and this is where people go wrong in one of two opposite directions. Some drain every bit of fat, leaving the beef dry and hollow tasting. Others leave a greasy pool that makes the whole dish heavy. The Japanese approach does neither. You pour off the excess fat once the meat is seared, but leave just enough to carry flavor, then let the seasoning simmer into what remains. You're not eliminating the fat and you're not drowning in it. You're keeping the small amount that makes the dish taste rich and losing the rest. This matters even more depending on what beef you buy. Very lean ground beef dries out fast because there's little fat to protect it, while a medium grind with a bit more fat stays juicier and more forgiving. If you're using very lean beef, you lean harder on the sauce and the simmering to keep it moist because there's less fat doing that job for you. Matching your technique to your meat is half of never ending up dry. And whatever you do, don't rinse browned beef under water to cut the fat the way some people are taught, because you rinse away most of the flavor you just worked to build along with it. Step back and it's really one idea, handled from a few sides. Brown the beef properly in a hot pan with room to sear, then cook the seasoning into it instead of pouring it over, and keep just enough fat to carry the flavor. Not one of those steps needs anything you don't already have in an ordinary kitchen. What gets me about all of this is how much of it comes down to simply leaving the beef alone at the start. The dish is half won in that first quiet minute. When you resist the urge to stir and let the meat actually brown, the gray, watery ground beef people have settled for is almost never bad meat or a bad recipe. It's good meat, stirred too soon, crowded too tight, and seasoned too late. And that's the real thread running through all of it. The idea behind so much of how Japan cooks. Rather than browning beef plain and trying to fix a bland result at the end with more sauce, the whole approach builds the flavor in from the start, so the problem never arrives. Prevention over correction. The same principle whether it's a juicy steak, tender shrimp, or a pan of ground beef that's rich and savory instead of gray and dry. Try it once with your next pound. Get the pan good and hot, press the beef into a single flat layer, and leave it completely alone for a minute or two until one side is deeply browned. Give it room, pour off most but not all of the fat, then simmer in soy, mirin, and a little ginger until it turns glossy. Instead of that gray, watery beef you'd normally drown in sauce, you get something deeply browned, savory, and genuinely worth eating on its own. Make a big batch of it seasoned this way, and it keeps for days in the fridge, ready to spoon over rice, fold into an omelet, or stuff into a vegetable. So one pan on a Sunday quietly feeds you through the week. People think good ground beef is about buying a better grade or a secret spice blend. Most of the time, it's about a hot pan, a minute of patience, and cooking the flavor in instead of pouring it on. That's the whole idea behind this channel, one dish at a time. The next one takes on the vegetable people are the most sure they already know how to cook, and the small change that proves them wrong.